Welcome to Mobility Monday. Today's focus is going to be on the posterior chain, so that's going to be largely the glutes and the rear shoulder and upper back. These are muscle groups that are sorely neglected by most people in the modern world, including myself, and so it's really important that we take an active effort in making sure that these muscles are strong and that they're moving well and that we have a good connection to them. So we're going to start off, as we often do, lying down on the floor in the pelvic tilt. So this is also going to get our abs and our spine warmed up as well, but we're going to transition this into a glute movement with the bridge. So we're going to start. We're actually going to make sure we're incorporating the pelvic floor today, okay? So like kind of the bottommost muscles of our abdomen, right? So our diaphragm kind of is the top of this chamber, and the pelvic floor is the bottom of this chamber, this kind of cylinder that moves as we breathe. So as we breathe in, our pelvic floor is going to relax. As we exhale, our pelvic floor is going to contract. It's going to pull up as we pull our belly button down. So pelvic floor up, belly button down, and we're pressing our back into the floor and relax. Inhale, filling that chamber, the pelvic floor relaxes. And as we exhale again, the pelvic floor pulls up, our belly pulls down towards the floor. So inhale, relax. Exhale, contract. A nice contraction in the abs, pressing the back into the floor. At the same time as we're doing this, our pelvis is rocking back. So as we contract, pull our pelvic floor up, we're rotating our hips back. And then as we relax, we let our pelvis rock back forward. So do a couple more here. Relax and contract. Pull the pelvic floor up and relax. And one more here. Now, continue to breathe, but keep the contraction here in the abs. Keep the spine flat where we don't have that curvature in the low back. So we're going to maintain kind of the rigidity in our core here. And now we're going to press through the feet and lift the hips up off the floor and relax. So now we're going to incorporate all of it together. So as we exhale, abs are tight, pelvic floor pulls up, press up, and relax. And again. Squeezing the glutes here at the top, keeping the abs nice and tight. So I have a nice straight line here in my spine. And as we come down, we can let the back relax here, or let the abs relax here, and we get that curvature back. Two more here. And now we're going to come up. We're going to do a combination kind of stretching our glutes and activating our glutes. We're going to do an active pigeon. So you're going to have to get your dog a little bit out of your way. So in a standard pigeon, you're going to have your front leg bent in front of you and your back leg is going to be out behind you. And we're basically just stretching the front glute here. But we're going to make this active because this isn't about flexibility, this is about mobility. So we're talking about our active control and strength within our range of motion. So we're going to add that component with the back glute. So you're going to use your arms to help you here at first. So you're going to just kind of enjoy the stretch here in this front glute. But then we're going to rise up, squeeze this back glute. You'll feel a nice stretch maybe in the front of your hip flexor into the muscles that go up into your abdomen actually. You can even squeeze the shoulder blades together here, maintaining that nice squeeze in the glute. And then slowly lower yourself down. Get that extra stretch in that front glute. And then press yourself back up. Really squeezing that back glute. Pressing through this front hip, or this back hip rather. Getting that stretch up here. Now, and if this feels good, you can try to just hover your hands off the ground a little bit. If you can hold that, if you can handle that, squeeze this back glute again and press yourself up and back down. Do this a few times, squeezing that glute. So this is, you're getting a major stretch in this glute here, in that front glute, because now all the pressure. My dog really wants to play. Ready? Okay. Hands or no hands. When you use your hands, you can get a little bit more of that stretch here in the hip flexor and that psoas. Either way, we want to make sure that we're squeezing this back glute though as we come up. Last one. This feels really good if you have tight hip flexors, because when we have tight hip flexors, we typically have weak glutes by comparison. So we want to work on lengthening these and activating these. So we're going to switch sides. Starting off just with that nice, easy stretch now of this glute. And as you exhale, your body relaxes. And then I'm going to start to press up, squeezing my back glute now, getting that nice stretch through the front side. And then just kind of take yourself through some reps here, making sure you're getting that good squeeze there, pressing through this hip, using the hands to help control the stretch and your body weight. And then as your front glute here starts to loosen up, if you want to increase the intensity, you can kind of hover those hands up off the ground, squeeze the back glute, press yourself up and back forward. Make sure you're squeezing the glute. I'm going to finish off the last couple with my hands so I can really press through and get that nice stretch through the hip flexors. And one more. Good. Now we're going to come into a seated position. So from a comfortable seated position, you can be crisscross applesauce. You could have your legs out. Whatever feels good to you. A place we're going to be able to sit up with nice tall posture. We're going to do the WY exercise. So we're going to imagine that we're actually sitting up against the wall. You could actually, if you have space to do this, you could actually position yourself so you are against the wall. And what we want to do, I'm going to turn myself sideways so I can illustrate this a little bit better. We're really working on making sure we have really good posture here. We're going to start with our hands at our sides, and then we're going to raise our arms up overhead. The whole time though, the reason the wall comes into play, we're trying to basically press backwards as if we were pressing into the wall and keeping the backs of our hands and wrists in contact with the wall the entire time without arching our back. So that's the real challenge, is keeping the abs tight. So the abs bring our ribs closer to our hips. So we're going to kind of crunch, maintain that, kind of just like when we did the pelvic tilt on the floor, but now we're vertical. Kind of tuck the chin a little bit. Reach up and back down. We're putting pressure backwards this whole time. From the front, we're going to start off looking like a W, and then we're going to reach up overhead like a Y. Chin is tucked, abs are tight. Start off like a W, reach up overhead, keeping the abs tight, come up to a Y, and then back to a W, and we're really squeezing the shoulder blades back and down. Reach up, we're keeping that backwards pressure, keeping the abs tight here. Back down, shoulder blades back and down as we make the W. So this should be difficult. Your back, the back of your shoulders, your abs should all be working really hard right now because we're continuing this backward pressure, continuing that nice stability in the abs. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. Okay, 2 more here. Keep pressing backwards. Keep the abs tight as we reach overhead. Squeeze the shoulder blades back and down, and one more time, come up. All right, roll those shoulders a little bit. That's a lot of work. One last thing, throw the ball. One last thing, we're gonna kind of do, I don't know what to call these, front and back flies, I suppose. So we're gonna stay in the same seated position, and we're gonna still be working the rear shoulder, the mid and upper back, but we're also gonna be opening up the chest and the front of the shoulder at the same time. So you're gonna put your hands together. If you can get your elbows touching as well, that is excellent. Okay, do a little pressure here. Squeeze a little bit, keep the abs tight, squeeze here, and then we're gonna open up, keeping the shoulders away from the ears, keeping the abs tight, and then we're gonna press back into that wall again, that imaginary wall behind us, squeezing the shoulder blades back and down, and then come forward, squeeze the arms together, and then open it back up. Press together. Open up, keep the abs tight as we squeeze the shoulder blades together, shoulders back and down. So we're creating the resistance here just by our own isometric strength. Keeping the abs tight the entire time. Let's just do one more. Press. And we're not going to squeeze again at the front. We're going to leave ourselves with our shoulders nice and open, our back on fire, hopefully. So we're nice and activated. Our posterior chain is nice and activated for good posture for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining me for Mobility Monday. I'm Erin, the Reformed Health Coach. Remember, reform your lifestyle, reform your health.